Welcome to Streams of Income with self-help author Ryan Rieger. For the next hour, you'll hear proven methods for how to live the multiple income streams dream. Ryan is passionate about helping others discover their gifts and start their own business. He's published 5 books, and his courses and group coaching programs have changed the lives of thousands of students all over the world. Ryan's books include Private Label, The Easy Way, Finding Your Grace Place, and his latest, Streams of Income. And now, here's your host, Ryan Rieger.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Streams of Income radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking to somebody who was on earlier, episode 17, talking about print on demand, but this is Stephen Hibbert. He's my good friend. He has a fun story because it mirrors a lot of my story and how I met Jim Cochran with the auction. Jim had an auction for a book, his book, 101 Free Marketing. I won that auction. As a result, I got to spend, it was going to be a 30-minute phone call. Instead, I got to spend a 2-hour lunch with him, flew up to Indiana and met him. Elaine and I did. That was so super fun. That was back in 2012. And that just kicked off an awesome relationship that he and I now have, partnered together many times. And Stephen's the same way. I hosted an auction for my brother and sister-in-law's orphanage in Guatemala in 2017, and Stephen won it. And instead of a 30-minute call, he called me up and said, hey, can I pull a Ryan, come meet you? We had lunch, had a 3-hour lunch, met him and his wife. It was awesome. And now we've partnered together on many things, and he's become one of my good friends. So this is a really cool episode. We talk a lot about print on demand because it's something that anybody can start. He actually thinks it's probably the best place to start for somebody who wants to create an income online, but maybe just not sure about physical products. Maybe they're unsure about spending money on inventory. Then print on demand is something to look into. And if you're already selling online, then print on demand is a great method of inventory to add into your business. Stephen, welcome back to the Streams of Income radio show. You are in
returning guest.
You're in an elite club. You're one of the people who have been on more than once. So,
got rid of my brother. Drop that weight.
That's something that everybody wants to do. They want to be on Streams of Income more than once, right?
Yes.
I don't know about that, but thank you. Thanks for coming on again. Really appreciate it. Let's chat.
Problem.
Last time we chatted, you were on with your brother, and you guys were talking about print on demand. So let's pretend that folks have not listened to that. Guys, I'll give you the episode where you can go and listen to that. Just go to streamsofincomeradio.com. You'll see that. And I'll figure out which episode that is while Stephen's talking and say it here in a minute. But pretend like folks didn't hear that. What is print on demand and how can folks get started in it and why you still like it?
I love it as a place to get started selling online. There's no upfront cost. There are many different options now, whereas before when we started, there was really only a few players in a game. We normally call it POD, but POD is just that, print on demand. It's almost like having a ton of options for inventory, but not having to purchase anything upfront. You create the design, somebody else prints on the t-shirt, the hat, the whiteboard, whatever it is that you're trying to print on. Another company will handle all that. They'll also handle the shipping. And at some times, depending on the company that you're working with, also the customer service. So it's almost like a full service that you just get to work on the promoting, developing side of the business, which is the part that I love. And it's, I think, an easier way to get into selling online. You have an idea, getting that idea to market is very rapid with a POD type business.
Yeah, you don't have to be like, ooh, I like this product and let's go order 500 of them and test out. Ooh, that didn't work. You can test 500 different designs fairly easily and quickly. And hey, only 5 of them sold. Okay, that's fine. Now you got 5 of them that sell. Let's find 5 more and you can build up a portfolio that way. Guys, it was episode 17. It was called A Physical Product Business with No Inventory. And
that's a great title.
It's not drop shipping. A lot of folks think about drop shipping when we talk about a physical product business that doesn't have inventory. So awesome. Yeah. So you think it's a great starting point for somebody who is wanting to get into selling physical products, but maybe a little bit nervous about the initial investment.
Yes. It can be an addition to your business because if you have a niche-based business where you're going after cats, dogs, hunting, whatever the case may be, it's fairly easy to use the research that you already have and the designs or the products that you have going a little bit deeper, like if you're selling hunting equipment and you're really into bows, like you can do additional research, create designs, and add that to your existing business. I do think this might be a broad statement that I might pivot back and forth on. I think merch by Amazon and Kindle Direct Publishing by Amazon are great additional platforms if you're just starting or want to add to your Amazon business, because they're all connected but separate. So if something happens to your merch account, you don't lose all your other accounts, but they're still under the same umbrella.
Yeah.
There is a waiting period or application process to get into merch by Amazon. There is nothing for KDP. I know Jenny, who you've had on the show a few times now, she talks about KDP. There is a pause when people hear KDP, go, oh, I have to write a book.
Right.
You don't have to write a book. Ryan can get that episode like where Jenny, I'm sure, talks about all the options that you have with KDP. It just allows you to take ideas and get them to market rapidly, start making some money so that you can go, okay, this is the direction I want my business to go in. Now, saying all that, I do think a better place to start is Etsy, because you can link in a print-on-demand partner and then have more customer connection and then actually grow and scale a business, where it's very difficult to grow and scale just a Merch by Amazon account or just
customer connection means you're actually in contact with those customers. You can build a relationship with them, get them on an email list. Very key. Yes. Your business is your list. And that's one thing that's frustrating about Amazon is you can through Amazon. But even that's hard, because now Amazon there's an option for customers to say, I don't want to hear from sellers, and you may be trying to give them valuable information or tell them, hey, your shipment's late or whatever. And you can't do that because they've turned off that option. Okay.
Yeah. And there's no cross promotion inside. I shouldn't say there's none. It's hard to cross promote inside Amazon. So if you are selling any product, it's hard to get that same customer to buy another product from you. Unless you're bundling it on the same listing. Inside Etsy, people normally go to the store and see what other products you have and then purchase a few different things from you. And like Ryan said, you get connection to the customer, so you can email them, tell them when deals are coming out. That's not an option with Amazon. So I think if you're going to start, a little bit more upfront work maybe is Etsy, but I do think it pays off dividends as you grow and scale that business.
That's awesome. Let's talk about that. So let's say I want to, because I am not on Etsy at all. I thought it's only for, I thought maybe that's only for ladies to be on there. But I know it's a very popular platform. So let's say that I want to start a print-on-demand business on Etsy. Where do I even begin?
You're going to have to sign up for an Etsy account. There is some understanding that you have to take into Etsy, because you have to link a bank account there. You have to link a third-party seller to it, so it's not as easy as a process. But there are a lot of videos on YouTube. There are a lot of people asking us. We're thinking about putting more videos on YouTube about Etsy and how to connect that stuff and grow an actual Etsy business. Because unlike merch, if you're selling just on Amazon through merch, if you have shirts that are selling, there's no additional product ideas that you can have that your other customers might like. If you're doing it on Etsy, you sign up for an account, you link your bank account, you link a third party on there, you list your listing, either a shirt or a mug or any other print on demand. If you see that I Love Cats mug is taking off, there is an opportunity for you to sell other cat products under that same storefront. So you could go out and then do handmade something else, partner up with somebody else, actually sell a lot more product lines on Etsy instead of just print on demand. Because Etsy is more handmade stuff, but you can sell different products on there. But they're using it as print on demand. I don't know how many people know that, but it is an option to do that. And there are more and more companies that you can link your store to and have more of a selection of products.
Okay, so when you say more companies you can link your Etsy store to, what's that look like?
So say, for example, Amazon merch. Amazon handles everything. They have their own printing company. Etsy is just like eBay. It's a marketplace. You're going to have to find a third-party printer, essentially,
to make that mug or make that shirt, to print it. Okay, got it.
So there's Printech, there's Printful, there's I'm blanking on a few other ones, but there's a handful of them. And as more people see the options on there, more companies are coming over, because now you could do jewelry. There's a lot of options for stuff that I wouldn't even think is print on demand that you can sell now.
Wow.
Take your logo, your image, your saying, your design, put it on that stuff,
Okay.
and sell it on Etsy. Etsy's policy allows certain third-party sellers to come on there. You just have to make a note that this is a third-party seller. It's just a button that you click in the back end.
Got it.
It's not difficult, but it's just not as easy as merch where you just click and everything is all in one. You just
Sure.
have to understand the rules. And it's each company has its own little quirks, but it's not, I was going to say it's not that difficult. It can be frustrating at times because you're like, this is what I'm hearing. And now you watch a video that's 3 months old and something has changed
Sure.
and you have to click something else or do something else. So
Yeah.
it's sometimes a little bit of a finagling, but once
Well,
you get
my
it, it's
audience
not like
is
you have
used
to
to
set
that
it
with
up every
Amazon. There's
time.
always something changing with Amazon, so that's not no problem at all. We understand.
Once you link it, you're good to go. But linking it and the original setup is sometimes difficult.
So you're saying, let's say that we think, okay, I'm an Amazon seller and I've been selling a lot of camping equipment, and I think I'm starting to get a lot of people that are interested, and I'm really focusing on camping equipment. You can also say, well, what else might campers be interested in? So what type of camping designs, camping mugs,
Camping
might
sayings.
they like, sayings, and I can essentially list a whole bunch of these shirts and mugs that don't even really exist yet onto Etsy. Somebody buys them, and then Print Tech or Printful, whatever company, whatever printer I work with, will it seamlessly work? Do I have to tell Print Tech and Printful I just sold? That's awesome. Okay, so Print Tech and Printful will somehow connect to my Etsy account. You go on there and you're in Florida and you buy my camping mug that says I love camping. Print Tech or Printful will essentially get that order and know then that they need to create that mug and ship it to you in Florida?
Yes.
That's beautiful.
So
I can
it
have
is
500 designs like that.
a very easily scaled business, and this is why I
Yeah.
love print on demand, because if you wanted to test 5 different mugs, you don't have to have 10 sets of every mug to then test. You can just have those 5 designs. That company houses all of those blanks. As soon as one sells, they print it and then send it to that customer. Then if you want to have that same design a shirt or any of the other products that they offer, hats, that's all stuff that they can warehouse and sell for you. So I know people now are backed up with some FBA products. Even one of our friends has products in her house, like taking up a whole bunch of space in her house. And I was just laughing because I was like, oh, I remember those days. I don't miss those days. Now all of my products are in somebody else's warehouse. The shipping times might be a little bit longer, but no product is being backed up in my house where I have to warehouse a whole bunch of products.
This is
incredible. My wife didn't like it when I had car parts on the table years ago.
So a couple of things I'm thinking, since I love talking about these things because this is something that I'm not currently doing. So I can actually ask questions from a total rookie standpoint. So how would you come up with keyword ideas and theme ideas other than I'm an Amazon seller and I'm selling a ton of camping equipment. So there's probably a lot of people interested in camping. How else could you come up with, like you always mention Taco Cat, like how do you know that people like Taco Cat stuff?
So it's not a perfect system. Etsy is sometimes a little bit more difficult to do research on because they don't have a BSR bestseller rank that you can go and see how many products this person has sold. You can go into their store and see the amount of reviews they have. Those reviews sometimes have pictures. So it's a slightly better indicator if that product is selling. But coming up with the ideas, if you're in that niche, I would start on whatever platform you're already using, or if you haven't started yet, just going to Google and type in camping, hit space, and then see what the search bar suggests and kind of go down a rabbit trail. A lot of stuff that Ryan teaches when he does presentations, you're always following rabbit trails. You're trying to see where possible gaps are in the market. I'm not a huge camper, but I do know that yurts are popular just from doing a little bit of keyword research. Glamping, which I till like January had no idea what that was, but a friend of mine bought an RV and he was like, oh, I'm going glamping. And I was like, what is that? I've never heard of that word ever in my life. But there are terms, especially if that's your niche. I'm sure there's terms that you are aware of. Those are great places to start. go to Amazon, type those in, go to Google, type those in, go to Etsy, type those in, see what's out there for images, and like what those people might be searching. Then add the keyword shirt, add the keyword mug, add the keyword whatever the product is that you're selling, because then you'll have a better understanding of what other competitors are doing. Because sometimes there's a lot of products, but the people that are selling those products have a disconnect from the actual niche. Like me, I put a lot of products up, but I don't truly know enough about archery or anything that a lot of stuff that we're selling. But somebody that would be very knowledgeable in archery would know a term or a kitchen table talk term that they could use and dominate that space, where I'm just using archery. Like,
so would you start with something that you might be interested in then?
Something you have knowledge of. That's what we always suggest people start with. It could be something that you're interested in. It could just be something that you have more knowledge than the average person on. And this sometimes is a difficult conversation to have with people because they go, oh, I don't know anything. I do the same thing. When someone asks me, like, what are you into? What are your knowledge? It was like, it's hard to think on the spot. I would say, like, throughout the week, who are the people that you're talking to? Is there something that they say that sparks an interest? Take that back to the internet and just do some research. Your kids are going to say words. You're going to be able to go, oh, I do like going to the beach. I do like watching dolphins. I do like, let me do a little bit of research on that. What is it that I'm looking for? What YouTube videos am I already looking for? What Facebook groups am I already in? Just take time and take a step back. Instead of trying to like sit down in front of a notepad and write it all out, just go through your daily week and just mentally take notes and be like, oh, I am into this. I do like, I am into I go golfing every week. Why didn't I think about that? These are ways to start. Then just do some preliminary research. Type in golfing into Amazon, type golfing into, just to see what in general is there. Then think about the types of products that you're going to sell. Hats, t-shirts. You can go to Printech or Printful or any of those sites and they'll give you a list of their products. They do tote bags and all that stuff. Take whatever word, golfing, and then type in tote bags, because you want the niche and then the product. And then you're just doing preliminary research. That, I think, if you're into it, will spark thousands of ideas.
Okay, so let's take camping, and I want to do an I Love Camping mug. Obviously, on Etsy, you're going to need to have a picture of an I Love Camping mug that I don't physically have here at my house to take a picture of. How do you get? We'll talk about designs in a second, but let's say that you have the design. Maybe you paid a designer to create it, and it looks nice. How do you get that picture on Etsy?
So there is the actual printing company that you're using. There's a place to upload that image. And then there's a way to push that image over to Etsy to create the listing. Again, it's not a perfect system. Every company is slightly different, but once you do it once, it's just a repeatable process. But you will need preferably, and this might be more of where I wish Nathaniel was here on this call because I'm not the art side, you'll need a transparent PNG file. I don't know what that stands for.
Like we
I
needed
apologize.
For merch.
Yes. And they'll tell you the proper sizing on whichever company that you're going to be using. And you can do a lot of research. There are a lot of people doing this, so they know here's the optimal size. It actually says this many square inches or whatever the case may be, but you want to upload this so it's a little bit higher quality, or if you're going to shrink it down. Like it depends if you're going to do a full print, if you're going to do patterns. There's some nuances to it, but it's not super difficult. And even last time we were on here, I would have suggested you need both a keyword person on the business and a design person on the business, because each one of those parts were very difficult before to do. Now, with a lot of like Adobe, big name companies are making free tools that you can use to create designs very simply and be able to create those PNG files. I think anybody can do this business by themselves, especially in the testing phase. And as soon as you start making some money, hiring and building an actual POD business, I think is an easier business to build than something like Replens or private label. I'm not dissing on those. I just think it's easier. All you really need is a designer and a keyword person. It's not very difficult to build systems around that versus a private label business where there's a lot of steps to take before you even get a product and you have to market it. There's a lot of things that you have to do. With POD, design some keywords, build a listing,
and you just throw it up and see what works, because it's free. I mean, your time to put it together, time's money, but you're not paying hundreds or thousands of dollars to test something.
Yeah, on Etsy there is a cost. There's a 20-cent listing cost, but it's a 3 or 6 month, I don't remember now, listing On KDP, there is no listing cost, and on merch, there is no listing cost. Merch has a tiering system. So you start at 10, and then if you sell 10, you go to the next. So it's a little harder to have thousands of listings. But KDP, Etsy, you can have thousands of listings up pretty quickly. And even if a percentage of those sell, you will be profitable.
That's incredible. Okay, so the next question would be, I have an idea for, and I love camping mug, and I mean, I might just have plain old Times New Roman font, and that's not going to look good. So how do you do? Let's say I do know how to do a design. You mentioned a free Adobe tool. Is that Adobe Spark?
Yes.
Okay, and that's pretty easy to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
I saw a video that Nathaniel did, and it did look pretty simple and easy, even for a novice like me.
I am no designer, and I dropped out of high school, so I can't really even spell. But it has spell correct. It has drag and drop. It makes it so easy to design that I think anybody can create high-level designs, but really for print on demand, simpler designs sell. Most people have seen that Run DMC shirt sell. They've seen all the different ways that people have done run, then they just change the word on the shirt. Those simpler designs sell well as POD.
Is that like the keep calm and carry on type of shirts? There's keep calm and do something else. Yeah.
I love whatever it is. Beach hair, don't care. There's a lot of sayings that you can mix and match.
Yeah.
And
that's awesome.
Easy to do inside of Spark because you can make a template and then just switch out whatever the word is or the two words or the image that you're using and then create a lot of shirt designs that way. And like I said, before when we were on episode 17, I would have been like, this is almost impossible to do by yourself. You need a designer to do this. Now with Spark, I think anybody can do it. Canva is another program. Awesome. There's so many free to use programs that are high level to use. Unlike MS or the old Windows Paint. I could have used Windows Paint, but there was nothing good coming out of there. I would have been able to sell any of those designs.
Right.
But now with Adobe Spark especially, they have templates, and you can almost just click a template, type in different words, and use that. And we've done that before also.
Love it. Oh my gosh, this is incredible stuff. Okay. Next question. Then I want to chat about some of the new stuff you're working on. You can go as deep or as shallow as you want on that. But for
depending on my confidence
stuff, you think this is something that let's say that I've never sold on Amazon before, never sold on eBay. Print on demand, what you just mentioned, is something I could get into?
Yes.
That's awesome.
I would almost suggest KDP because there is no barrier of entry. There is no application process. And if you're brand new and you've never done keyword research, you don't know how to do any kind of designs or anything, KDP itself has a YouTube channel that is extremely thorough on teaching you how to set up an account, how to get your first book up. Now they're teaching you on how to actually write a book, but there are a lot of low to no content options like journals, like logs, like recipe books where you write your own recipe. And there's a lot of creative ideas that you could build books around. And I think that process of building that book, it will give you the understanding of how to create other assets and be able to use those assets across other platforms. But KDP is just like an all-in-one service. You have to create the internals and the cover, and sometimes the formatting can be a little funky, but there's so many people that are knowledgeable about that. And it's not like you have to add another plugin or understand how the bank account works into this. It's a contained system that I think is easiest to start if you have zero background. But I think if you want to grow a business and you have an idea, I do think it's a little bit better to go on Etsy. Now, it will be a little harder to start, but I think it's worth it to understand and learn the Etsy process.
Yeah. And so even if you're an experienced Amazon seller, and let's say you've kind of bolted that down a little bit, you've got some shoppers or you've got VAs and you feel like, this can kind of run without me having to be in it all the time. I want to create a new stream of income. This is a good option.
Yes. And I would strongly suggest Etsy for those people, because at first you get to diversify your income streams. You're not all in on Amazon. You get to add in another platform and build another income stream. Christy Hertzler actually has her business set up where she's running her POD, or her VAs are actually running her POD business. So she doesn't do anything. And they're focused more on Etsy now because it's growing and scaling for them. And it gives them more options. Some of her Amazon products now she can take over to Etsy and grow that business and have 2 huge income streams that are generating into her business.
Wow.
but especially if you have VAs and everything, I just think Etsy is a much better platform because you're geared up to quickly learn. It's not any more complicated than it is selling on Amazon at sometimes. So you should know how to overcome those small little obstacles, link in the bank account, how to set up another third-party seller. Most Amazon sellers, especially if they have VAs, have tied in through MS, whatever Amazon's third-party system is, have used that. It's almost the same with going through Etsy. It's just their way of certifying that that company that you're using is good enough to be on their platform is all you really have to go through. But once you lock it in, like I said, it's a one-time thing. It's not like every time I make a listing, I have to now tie in this new.
I can tell you just mentioned I'm going to get people emailing me, hey, I want to learn how Christy is doing that with VAs. So I will probably have to have her back on to chat about that. All right. So tell me, I know that you're excited about some other stuff. I don't want to let it out of the bag. If there's, if there's something you don't want to share or anything, nothing super secret.
It's just a lot of failing.
you're always, I love about you is you're always testing stuff and trying new things. So do you want to talk about any of the stuff that you're testing now?
Yes. I guess this idea originally came from wanting to promote our POD products in a bit more of a evergreen manner. You can do PPC, pay per click advertisements on Amazon. You can do pay per click advertisements on Facebook. Those are kind of like the two things that I'm constantly hearing about. So I was doing a lot of that. It cost a lot of money. And we were just looking at ways that we have thousands of products. How do we promote these products without having to pay every time I want to promote something? So we were looking at YouTube because I could make a quick YouTube ad, use that as the same ad that I'm using on Facebook, but it would be more evergreen because I don't have to pay to show it all the time on YouTube. I would just have to understand the YouTube platform a little bit more to get it a little bit more organically seen. And it's evergreen. So that listing now or that video now stays on there. So if anybody wants a cat shirt and they search it and they see my cat shirt, they might go over and buy my product. It was just a interesting concept to attempt to advertise a little bit more. Since we were having some success with that, I said, let me dig a little bit more into YouTube. And then we had some friends reach out to me. Then it was just very eye-opening. I heard John Hogan talk, and then I was like, there's probably a lot more to this than what we're doing. It's a very back burner thing that I just was testing, trying. It seemed to kind of be working, but I wasn't dedicating that much time to it. After we launched our Wingman U YouTube channel and saw it grow quite rapidly, and I was like, oh, it's all the stuff that I was testing I learned from. I bet you there's a huge opportunity here for people that are selling products to build their brand and have more of a brand representation on the internet. Because especially if you're doing your own website, you want backlinks. YouTube is a great place to send backlinks or have backlinks to. It was just a very eye-opening experience. So what I'm doing now is reaching out to a few different people, testing a few different things. It's a lot of failing, assuming I think I know what I'm doing, and then it doesn't work at all. Some of the tests have worked, and I'm just trying to deconstruct to see what truly happened. Why did this work? What is going on here? So it's a lot of learning. I'm very excited about it because even somebody like you, I think there's a lot of opportunities to get your message out there and put it in front of people that are looking for, how do I do private label? How do I actually do replens? What's the best way to do XYZ? Especially if you can answer questions, that seems to be a really good strategy that's working for us. It's a lot of time, energy, and effort right now, but I think once you, just like the signing up for Etsy, once you kind of understand what you're doing, it shouldn't take that much additional work. And I think it can almost fully be handed off because you can make a channel that's just voice and it's putting up stock images from Pixabay. There's a lot of opportunities, and I just was getting super excited because I was like, oh, I know a lot of people that I can help and go a little bit behind the scenes and help them with YouTube as another avenue to drive traffic.
I love it. Well, we'll probably have you back on to learn in 6 months or a year. What have you learned?
Let me get all the failing out of the way.
That's right. Finally got something we can talk about that's been successful. That's awesome. Any parting words? Like, just think, my audience, you're one of my audience, one of my friends, one of my students. What else would you say to folks? Maybe even the pivoting thing that we were just chatting about. So what's some advice you would have for folks out there?
I would say in these turmoil times, I know everybody, there's people at different levels. I'm sure there are people that feel like the world is collapsing because that's how I was feeling in the beginning of this, where everything was changing for me. I would say get in community with other people.
Yeah.
I guess that's like
good.
a biblical message. Get around other people. I'm always looking for wise counsel. I'm always reaching out to people. I love the fact that I can call Ryan and ask him deep questions, and even if he doesn't have the answer, he can point me towards somebody that might. I love the fact that now we're on Zoom and I can call people, get their face on camera, talk to them, figure out, pick their brain. Hey, things are changing rapidly. What are you doing? What strategies are you implementing? What is it that you're focusing on? But community, I think, is like a understated part of this. So if you are not on the Facebook page for Ryan's podcast, get on there. Start talking to other people. This is, I think, a missed piece that people have gone away from as they go more online. They're missing that community aspect. I think a lot of people with brick and mortar businesses have very strong local connections. They know the person next to them. They know other businesses. They go to business meetings. Like, I think that is you do conferences. Those are pieces that I think are not talked about enough. And I want to say, like, my success is not me. It's just me harassing, picking other people's brains. We've done a lot with selling courses and classes. Ryan taught me all that information. Like, I knew zero about that. I won auction that Ryan had. I got to meet him. I went to one of his conferences. He just was talking to me and asking me questions. And I was like, I don't have zero idea what you're talking about right now, but I'm interested. Just like if you don't know anything about POD, get around other people and ask them questions. Everybody is ignorant until they have some knowledge. But the only way you're going to get that and really, I think, go to the next level is with that community aspect. And consistency, I think, is the other piece.
Totally agree. You just mentioned conferences and stuff. You guys just did, and I should have mentioned this earlier. If you guys want to learn more about POD, Stephen just teamed up with another friend of mine, Melissa Reynolds, and a lot of other folks to put together a POD virtual summit. Tell us about that, and I'll have a link in the show notes, guys. This is episode 47. If you go to streamsofincomeradio.com, there'll be a link for this in the show notes. But talk about that POD summit. What was in that, and you guys can still get the recordings.
Yeah, super excited. If you want to learn about POD, this summit has a little bit of everything. How to do keyword research, how to do designs, what platforms work best. Ryan was part of the summit. Christy was part of the summit. Melissa was running the summit. We had, I forget now, the person you keep partnering up with, I've said her name twice, and I'm sorry, Jenny Hunt. She was in there talking about KDP. So it was just a ton of information, strategy, tactics, how to actually implement, how to go to the next level. We talked about hiring VAs. It's like a crash course on POD, letting you know a lot of different options and strategies on how to actually implement it into your business. It was a 3-day action-packed call. We did question and answers at the end. We had different guests on to clarify some different things that they talked about, but it was just action-packed, information-packed. I think if you are thinking at all about POD, it's something that you should pick up. It's at a very reasonable price.
That $47
and
bucks.
Ryan will have the link inside the description.
Cool.
It was something I wish I had. That's why I was a part of it. And be like, oh, we should have this person, this person. And even the way that we set it up the first day was just like, what is your why? And then you talking about multiple income streams and just like explaining it from a 10,000 foot view. Here are options. Like when you're going into this, you think it might just be selling shirts. It's just a lead in. You talked about the book that you started that turned into a course, that turned into a class, that turned into a membership site. Like there's so many options, but I think POD should be the driving factor in doing all this. And then we had people talking about how to scale. It was just extremely exciting for me to be a part of. We should have talked about it more. I apologize not to bring it up till the end, but it's has a ton of information in there if you're at all interested in POD.
Love it. Streamsofincomeradio.com, episode 47. The link will be in the show notes for that. Stephen, thank you so much, man. I know I'll have you back on again. And just thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
No problem. Take it easy.
You've been listening to Streams of Income with self-help author Ryan Rieger. From right here in the Dallas Metroplex, Ryan teaches several entrepreneurial courses and group coaching programs to students all over the world. Be sure to listen next week at the same time for Streams of Income with Ryan Rieger.